The HFY Sleep Research Institute data hall hummed with quiet precision. Dr. Andrew Velnar stood frozen before a holographic display, its amber graphs spiking beyond every modeled limit. The system flagged 3.8 million human night shift nurses. Their activity levels surpassed thresholds his own species classified as lethal.
This can't be right. The equipment must be faulty.
Andrew, you've been staring at that for hours. It's a transmission error from a primitive world.
I've checked. The feeds are clean. These humans are operating at physical levels that should kill them.
So, you believe a species that can barely leave its atmosphere defies biology? It's a glitch.
I am going to Earth. I need to see it for myself.
That's absurd. The board will never authorize it.
They don't understand. This isn't about protocol. Something is keeping those humans alive.
Within hours, Andrew was aboard a long-range shuttle, leaving the gleaming spires of Heth behind. The blue globe of Earth grew in the viewport, hiding an answer he could not yet name. The shuttle landed under a cold autumn night. The air tasted of metal and old rain. At customs, a human officer stared at Andrew's blue-gray skin for a full minute before clearing him through. A ground vehicle carried him through empty streets to the hospital, a block of harsh light in the darkness. Inside, fluorescent light cut into his corneas. The corridors pulsed with alarms, moans, and the relentless shuffle of feet. His credentials, translated into English, earned a wary nod from the hospital administrator. He was allowed to observe. Then Andrew saw her, leaning against the wall in wrinkled green scrubs, coffee cup held like a prayer.
Her eyes were sunk so deep they looked painted on, but her gaze snapped to a gurney with predatory precision. Her body should be convulsing from exhaustion, not standing guard over a ward.
Yet, there she was, holding a styrofoam cup, eyes tracking the corridor with a vigilance that made his neck prickle. He had come 32 light years to ask a single question. Now, facing the answer, he wasn't sure he wanted to hear it. Andrew crossed the corridor to the nurse's station. Anna was refilling her coffee, the machine groaning.
Excuse me, I am Dr. Andrew Velnar from the HFY Sleep Research Institute. I've been tracking your hospital's night shift data.
The alien. I heard someone was coming. What do you want from me?
Your endurance is statistically improbable. With your consent, I'd like to attach biosensors and monitor your vitals during shifts.
You want to know why I don't fall over? Good luck with that. Fine, stick your patches on.
Andrew's fingers trembled slightly as he pressed the first sensor onto her temple. She didn't flinch. More sensors at her wrists, her collarbone, a thin film over her finger. Data began streaming to his tablet.
The numbers would come, but her stillness was already a warning.
If you are done, I have a patient with a drain that's about to clot. Keep up if you can.
Andrew followed, tablet clutched like a lifeline, watching a woman who should be collapsed walk into a room of the dying. Andrew shadowed her into the room. The tablet lit with a cascade of numbers: cortisol, glucose, core temperature, all painted in urgent red.
Her body was screaming for shutdown, yet she moved to the patient's side as if it were the first hour of her day.
The readings crossed lines that on Heth would trigger a medical emergency. For a human, they were simply Tuesday. Anna checked the IV drip with a steady hand, then listened to the patient's chest. Not a tremor.
My instruments are calibrated. This isn't a transmission error. She is actively defying physical limits.
He rechecked the sensor contacts, reviewed the calibration logs. The data remained impossible. Hour 5. Her glucose dropped below cognitive threshold. She caught an arrhythmia on the monitor and corrected it.
I am witnessing something that should not exist, and I don't know why.
By shift's end, Andrew's eyes burned from exhaustion. Anna poured another coffee, steady as iron. He walked away carrying more than data, a question his discipline had never asked. Now burning in his chest, Andrew returned the next night. And the night after that. The data never broke pattern, a river of red refusing to stop. He recalibrated sensors, tested before each shift. the same lethal spikes waited for him.
It's not malfunction. This woman is sustained by something my entire field cannot describe.
His own sleep fractured. The fluorescent lights began to pulse at the edges of his vision.
Andrew, you've been gone 6 weeks. The board is furious. Return immediately.
I have 30 shifts of flawless data. This is not a glitch, it's a phenomenon.
Phenomenon? You've lost perspective. Come home, and we'll review your flawless data together.
He cut the connection. The tablet's red graphs still screamed, but he couldn't look away from Anna.
If she's an anomaly, why do all the nurses here move like her? Like they've already died and forgotten to lie down?
The question grew thorns. He knew his science was wrong, just not how. On the 7th consecutive shift, Andrew's own vision swam. Anna's hands still moved with a clockwork. His instruments refused to record.
The potassium supplement is standard. His last lab was borderline.
Anna stopped mid-step, her gaze snapping to the IV line. Something was wrong.
That lab is 8 hours old. Since then, we ran 2 liters of fluid. His potassium is different now.
Dr. Levine's protest died as Anna pulled the updated chart onto the screen. The dangerous dosage highlighted in red. The room went still. Andrew saw it. The timestamp discrepancy, the lethal math. She had caught it. Thank you. I could have.
Her body is a wreck, but her mind is a blade. I need to know why.
He decided then. Tonight, when her shift ended, he would ask the question that had brought him here. No more sensors, no more data. Just a man, a woman, and the answer that terrified him. Just as he moved toward the nurse's station, his communicator pulsed with a priority override. Yelena's face snapped into view.
Andrew, we've analyzed your preliminary logs. The board says it's a statistical outlier. 1 nurse, 1 fluke.
It's not a fluke. I witnessed her catch a lethal error that 2 rested physicians missed. She's not an outlier, she's a revelation.
Or she's a clever manipulator. Humans excel at deception. They lie to themselves so convincingly, it looks like strength.
I've been measuring her for 6 weeks. She isn't lying. She's running on something we don't have a name for, and it terrifies me.
You are compromised. Come home now, or I'll have you recalled by council order. This obsession will destroy your career.
Then let it. I'll send my full report when I am ready. Until then, don't call me again.
He killed the connection. The silence that followed was heavier than the threat.
Maybe she's right. Maybe I am seeing what I want to see, but that woman saved a life with nothing but salt and fury.
He would ask her tomorrow. Tonight, he needed to let the doubt burn until only truth remained. Dawn bled gray through the corridor windows. Anna clocked out, her steps dragging, but still steady.
Anna, I've watched you work for 6 weeks. Your vitals say you should be dead. How do you do this?
Somebody has to. If I sleep, somebody dies.
She said it without drama, like stating the time of day. Then she walked away. The clock on the wall ticked to 6:07. Andrew didn't move.
There was no amphetamine in her blood. She wasn't augmented. She was running on a decision.
The words hung in the air like a verdict. If I sleep, somebody dies.
She didn't say adrenaline or training. She said, somebody has to. As if the vacancy itself was the fuel.
32 light years of science collapsed into 6 words. Andrew stood in the wreckage. He didn't follow. He couldn't. The parking lot was waiting, and something inside him had already cracked. Andrew walked out into the parking lot under a sky the color of old bandages. The cold air hit his face, but he didn't feel it. He climbed into the driver's seat and sat motionless, hands on the wheel, staring through the window at nothing. The dam broke. Alien tears, silent convulsions. A researcher drowning in a question he couldn't measure.
She gave me the answer, and I have no instrument for it. No category in my entire science.
He struck the wheel once, knuckles bruising, then forced himself to breathe. The pain grounded him. By the time he reached his hotel room, the sun was up. He sat on the edge of the bed, opened his datapad. He typed Earth, nursing tradition, and history of night shift. The results flooded his screen. Images appeared. Women with lamps, men in tents, all holding coffee, all refusing to sleep.
2,000 years. They've been doing this for 2,000 years.
He stared at the screen until his eyes blurred again, not from grief now, but from the beginning of understanding. He scrolled deeper into the archives, past modern studies, into the old photographs of Florence Nightingale. Her lamp, her rounds, her refusal to sleep.
She carried that lamp because nobody else would. The same reason Anna holds that coffee cup.
The texts used an archaic word he had never encountered in his studies. Vocation, a calling that consumed the body to spare the stranger.
Vocation, not a biological drive, a moral one. They've been running on ethics longer than my species has measured sleep.
For 2,000 years, human nurses had been taught, your body is a tool. Use it until it breaks. And they did.
This isn't resilience. This is a moral engine, a tradition that turns guilt into fuel.
HFY sleep science had measured cortisol, glucose, core temperature. It had never once measured guilt.
The chemistry is downstream from the choice. She decides not to sleep. Her body just obeys.
Andrew sat back, the hotel room cold with the weight of realization. He had come searching for a biological anomaly and found a cultural inheritance so profound it defied his species' entire model of consciousness.
Now I have to tell them, the galaxy thinks humans are limited by physics, but they're limited by conviction. And conviction has no threshold.
He returned to the hospital that afternoon, not with sensors, but with a recorder. Nurse Moreau was stirring coffee that had long gone cold.
You want to know why we do it? It ain't the pay. It's knowing if I clock out, room 214 goes unwatched for 8 minutes. See that photo? That's my mother, 50 years on this floor. Never missed a night. You think biology beats that?
I lost a patient. Fell asleep for 10 seconds. I see her face every hour. That's why I don't sleep now.
Nurse Goss wiped her eyes, but her voice held no self-pity, only an ironclad deference to the living.
Not one outlier. Not two. Every voice here runs on the same fuel, the terror of leaving someone to die alone.
He transcribed their words into his datapad, each phrase a data point for a thesis no HFY journal would want to read.
The evidence is everywhere. But evidence means nothing to a science that refuses to measure the intangible.
He opened a blank document. The title appeared almost on its own, The Engine That Refuses to Stop.
They'll laugh. They'll revoke my credentials. But if I don't publish, I'm just another coward who couldn't stomach the truth.
He opened a secure channel to Eilina. Her image flickered into the dim hotel room, cold and impatient.
This better be your surrender. The board convened today. You are facing formal censure.
I've found the answer. Humans don't just rest biologically, they rest morally. Their endurance isn't physical, it's a decision.
Morally, you are saying a culture overrides biology. That's not science, that's mysticism. You've lost your mind.
Call it mysticism. But the data is there. They ignore exhaustion because they refuse to let a stranger die. That's not adrenaline, that's ethics.
If you publish this, Andrew, you'll be declaring our entire discipline a lie. They will brand you a heretic.
Andrew looked at the document on his screen, the title already burning. He knew she was right, and it didn't matter.
Heretics tell the truth when the church is wrong. If my career is the price, so be it.
He ended the call. Then, in a symbolic act, he swept his HFY medical texts off the table onto the floor. The old science fell with a dull thud. Alone in the hotel room, Andrew faced the screen. The engine that refuses to stop was no longer a theory. It was a declaration of war. Andrew typed until his fingers ached. The final draft ran 72 pages. Biometrics, interviews, the ancient vow of the Night Watch.
No HFY journal will publish this, but the galaxy needs to see it.
He attached the resignation letter next, a separate document, a single line of severance.
I am no longer a researcher. I am a vessel for something I can't explain.
With a touch, he sent them both, the paper to the scientific board. the resignation to the institute director. Then he stood, unclasped his HFY research tunic, and let it fall. The silver fabric pooled at his feet.
There, now, I am just a man with nothing left to lose and a truth that terrifies everyone who hears it.
The hotel room accepted the silence. His communicator buzzed once, then went dark.
Anna would probably just pour another coffee and say it's time to work.
He closed the data pad. For the first time in 6 weeks, Andrew didn't reach for data. He reached for his coat. Within days, the paper ignites a firestorm. Andrew's face appears on HFY news feeds, headline blaring. Heretic. The board's formal rejection arrives. Findings unsupported by HFY sleep science. Author censured, all honors revoked.
Every bridge I built burned, and I feel nothing but relief.
Then a curious anomaly. A small Earth nursing forum translates the paper. A thread begins. This alien understands us better than our own hospitals. The thread grows. Nurses worldwide share it. A quiet fire, invisible to HFY telescopes, begins to burn.
They're reading it. They're seeing themselves in my data.
Yelena's final message is a single line. You've destroyed yourself. Was it worth it? Andrew doesn't reply.
Worth it. I'd do it again tomorrow.
That night, he walks past the hospital. The lit windows of the night shift call to him. He feels like a ghost that belongs here. The answer lies inside those walls. Not in data, but in staying awake for someone else. And he knows what he must do. At a public terminal, he pulls up the application. The form asks reason for applying. He types 4 words. Somebody has to. He sells his shuttle, his research equipment, even the silver tunic. What remains fits into a single bag. The final HFY headline reads, Velnar trades Academy for bedpans. His people consider him a fool. He doesn't care. He walks into the nursing school alongside humans young enough to be his grandchildren. His blue skin draws stares.
I published a paper that shook the galaxy. Now, I can't even pronounce sphygmomanometer.
First day of clinical skills. He fumbles the blood pressure cuff, the instructor's hand gently correcting his grip.
My fingers were designed for hollow interfaces. Now they have to learn a gentleness I've never practiced.
He studies under a flickering lamp, anatomy charts papering the walls. Sleep comes only when his eyes refuse to focus. Weeks pass. The stethoscope grows familiar. The ID badge with Andrew Velnar, student nurse, no longer feels alien. His old life is a memory. His new life is a promise. To be useful, to be awake for someone else. In simulation lab, he fails a code blue. The dummy flatlines under hands that can't compress deep enough.
My arms are too slender. I can't generate enough force. The instructor looks at me with pity.
He retakes the exam 3 times. On the 4th, his arms ache, but his rhythm is steady. The dummy's heart beeps back.
It's not about strength. It's about refusing to stop.
A human instructor, a retired nurse with a voice like gravel, pulls him aside. You are not here to be strong. You are here to be stubborn.
Stubborn. That's a word I understand.
He starts to feel it. The exhaustion that isn't exhaustion. The second wind that comes from seeing another student falter and stepping in.
This body is a tool. Use it.
In the library, he reads Nightingale's letters aloud to himself. How very little can be done under the spirit of fear. He underlines it. He fails again. Cries in the supply closet, then washes his face and returns. The engine is learning to catch. The graduation was quiet. A rented gym. His name called among strangers. Andrew Velnar, RN. A letter arrived 10 days later. Cleveland General Hospital. Night shift. His preceptor. The nurse who'd unmade him. At dusk, he stood outside the hospital, looking up at the lit windows. The same pull toward the door. In his room, he clipped the ID badge to fresh scrubs. The alien face on the photo now looked like a nurse. He adjusted the collar. No sensors, no data pads, just a stethoscope and an oath he'd memorized. He sent Anna a message. I'll be there at 7 p.m. The screen showed delivered. No reply. He walked past the parking lot where he'd wept. The tears were replaced by a low hum of purpose. The badge beat against his chest. Andrew Velnar, RN. Somebody has to. He pushed through the staff entrance. The fluorescent light struck his face. Too bright, too cold, exactly right. And somewhere on the 4th floor, Anna was probably pouring coffee. Andrew stepped off the elevator into the familiar hum of the night shift. The fluorescent light hit exactly the same. She was there, same spot against the tile wall, coffee cup in both hands like a prayer. The skull paint had faded, but the hollows beneath had not.
Anna, I came back to learn.
Andrew Velnar, RN. They gave you a real one. First patient is in 412. Keep up.
The orientation was a murmur of supply closets, code carts, and the break room where the coffee was always too weak. Andrew walked a step behind, committing it all to memory.
No sensors now, just this.
Check these against the chart. Something's off. You find me, don't hesitate.
And just like that, the study was over. The old researcher who'd wept in the parking lot was gone, replaced by a nurse who simply nodded and began. Somewhere down the hall, Anna picked up her coffee and kept walking. The night was long, and there was long, and there were bodies to keep alive. At 3:02 a.m., the code alarm ripped through the silence. Room 412. Andrew's body moved before his mind caught up. Anna was already there, hands compressing the chest. Andrew slid the backboard under without a word, then took over the bag valve mask.
I am not thinking about blood gas. I am not thinking about my hands. I am just keeping the air moving.
Good catch, Velnar. The rhythm stabilized.
The patient's hand twitched. A family member wept in the corner. Andrew stepped back, his chest heaving. Anna's eyes, hollow but sharp, found his. For a long second, no words were needed.
She sees it now. I am not the observer anymore. I am the engine.
They walked out together, shoulders almost touching, the night shift rhythm resuming its quiet pulse. Andrew rechecked the vitals on another patient, his alien hands steady. The tiredness was there, but something stronger kept it at bay. The night was long, but the engine did not stop. It had never been his to begin with. It was theirs now, and he was part of it. At 4 a.m., the corridor fell quiet. The coffee machine gurgled twice, then stopped. The night held its breath. Anna walked toward him, a fresh cup in each hand. She said nothing, just held one out. Andrew took it. The warmth bled through the styrofoam, a sacrament repeated across centuries. They leaned against the tile wall, shoulder to shoulder, the same pose Anna had held when he first saw her. The air shivered. Behind them, faint shapes began to materialize. Women with lamps, men in worn scrubs, all holding coffee, all refusing to sleep. The wall became a mural of the sleepless. Battlefield medics, plague nurses, nightingales, lamp holders, stretching into the dark. The clock on the wall read 4:07. The same time, the same ritual, looping across lives.
I am no longer the observer. I am the observed, and it's the same thing.
Anna exhaled, a sound that could have been from any decade. They did not speak. The engine was loud enough. Somebody has to. And they did. The nights flowed into each other, a river of beeping monitors and hushed conversations. Andrew charted medications, adjusted IVs. The alienness of his hands no longer mattered. A child in room 217 squeezed his finger. An old woman whispered, "Thank you, Blue Angel," and smiled. The clock on the wall marked 3:45. The corridors were quiet, but never empty. Anna caught his eye across the floor. No words. The coffee cups said enough. They did not sleep. The engine refused to stop, and people kept living. Some nights, a life was saved with a simple turn of a valve. Other nights, the victory was just getting to the next coffee. Andrew no longer counted shifts. He counted the faces that lived to see morning. They did not sleep. People kept living. That was the answer. And it had never been his to give, only theirs to live. Somebody has to, and they did. 8 years passed on the night shift, unmarked by anything but the clock on the wall. The coffee still tasted the same. Anna and Andrew walked the corridor shoulder to shoulder. Their scrubs faded, their eyes hollow, their cups steaming. The routine had not changed, the engine had not stopped. The wall behind them still shimmered with the ghosts of all who had refused to sleep. They leaned against the tile, a silent pause in the endless relay of the living. A child cried in room 217. Andrew straightened, and Anna was already pouring the next coffee. The clock on the wall read 4:07. The second hand trembled, then resumed its orbit. Through the window, the first pale seam of dawn cut the sky, cold, indifferent, absolutely certain. They turned together, silhouettes against the light, and kept walking. Somebody has to, and they did.